Hello everyone, welcome to Explained with Alexandra. This is a quick little recap show of what happened in week 1 of the regular NFL season. Now this show is mainly for my ladies out there who like sports but may not totally understand everything, but are nonetheless just absolutely tired of being mansplained. So let's get started. Simple facts about the NFL. There are 32 teams, which means there are 16 games every single week, starting on Thursday and ending on Monday night. Now, how are these teams matched up each week? Do they just pick it out of a hat? No. So first you need to understand that there is only one league in the NFL. There are 2 conferences in this league, the American Football Conference and the National Football Conference. And there are 4 divisions in each, as seen on the screen. So the American Football Conference has the AFC East, North, South, and West. So as you can guess, the National Football Conference has the NFC East, North, South, and West. Pretty simple. Now here's a breakdown of how each team's opponents are set. There are 6 games against divisional opponents, 2 games per team, 1 at home and 1 on the road. 4 games against teams from a division within its conference, 2 games at home and 2 on the road. 4 games against teams from a division in the other conference, 2 games at home and 2 on the road. Then 2 games against teams from the 2 remaining divisions in its own conference, 1 game at home and 1 on the road. Matchups are basically based on division rankings from the previous season. Yeah, that was really complicated, so definitely just pause the screen. All right, so now you have the basics. Let's begin. I'll be going over the top games from the week, touching on overall performance, players to know/watch, big plays of the game, and of course, the final score. The first game of the season was Thursday night, where the Philadelphia Eagles, last year's Super Bowl champions, took on the Atlanta Falcons, where there were 26 penalties called during this game. Sloppy game, or were the penalties called because it's week 1 and the refs are being extremely tight? You decide. The Falcons came out strong in the first quarter, where Matt Bryant kicked a 21-yard field goal, giving the Falcons a 3-point lead over the Eagles. The second quarter, Eagles kicker Jake Elliott kicked a 26-yard field goal to tie the score. Then the Falcons kicker Matt Bryant responded with a 52-yard field goal, giving the Falcons a 6-3 lead. The second half of the game got a lot more interesting. The Falcons defense was pretty solid despite having to perform in the second half without safety Keanu Neal due to a knee injury. But of course the Eagles had to show up, and in the third quarter, with about 7 minutes on the clock, 3rd down and 5, Eagles switched it up on the Falcons and executed the Philly special, which in my opinion was the play of the game. So let's take a look. Quarterback Nick Foles hands off to running back Corey Clement, who throws a lateral pass to wide receiver Nelson Agholor, who then throws it back to Foles, who picks up a first down. Here's a closer look. And for those of you who don't know what a handoff or lateral pass are, here are your definitions. Handoff, an exchange made by handing the ball to another teammate. Lateral pass, when the ball carrier throws a backwards pass to a teammate in a direction parallel to or away from the opponent's goal line. So Eagles got down the field after that, and Jay Ajayi put the ball in the end zone, and kicker Jake Elliott gets the PAT, point after touchdown or extra point, giving Eagles 10-6 lead. Fourth quarter, Falcons running back Tevin Coleman runs a 9-yard touchdown, but kicker Matt Bryant fails on the PAT. Atlanta up 12-10. The game was not over yet though, folks. Eagles' Jay Ajayi runs an 11-yard touchdown with about 2 minutes on the clock and runs it in for a 2-point conversion. Eagles win 18-12. So now your players to know. Quarterback, always gonna mention it, always important. Matt Ryan, quarterback for the Falcons, threw 251 yards. Julio Jones, Falcons wide receiver, who received 169 yards. Fun fact, he went to Bama, and also Julio isn't his real name. It's actually Quintores Lopez. Anyways, Devontae Freeman, running back for the Falcons, had 36 rushing yards. Deion Jones, linebacker for the Falcons, 9 total tackles, 4 of those were unassisted. Moving on to the Eagles, Nick Foles, quarterback, threw 117 yards. Jay Ajayi, running back for the Eagles, rushed 62 yards. Nelson Agholor, wide receiver for the Eagles, passed up 15 yards, rushed 16, and received 33. Fun fact, he's apparently the 21st Nigerian-born player in the NFL. Also, his middle name translates to, "May my name not be forgotten." Jordan Hicks, linebacker for the Eagles, 7 total tackles, 5 of those were unassisted, 1.5 sacks. Moving on to games from Sunday that I thought needed to be recapped. Jacksonville Jaguars versus the New York Giants. It was overall a pretty tight game. I thought both teams performed well, and I also thought Jaguars quarterback Blake Bortles was really patient in the first half, but really not sure what happened in the second half. So here's a quick recap. First half ended with the Jags leading 13-6. Most of those points scored were field goals. Second half, we see yet another field goal from the Giants. Third quarter ended with them down by 4. Fourth quarter, Jags Miles Jacks runs a 32-yard pick six, which is pretty important. And then the Giants come back and score a 60-yard touchdown. So that's, in my opinion, the play of the game, because it gave fans hope, because there were 10 minutes left on the clock. So let's take a look. Eli Manning finds Saquon Barkley and he runs for a 68-yard touchdown. Unfortunately, they failed to complete their 2-point conversion and couldn't get it together despite getting the ball in their possession 2 more times. So the final score, Jags 20, Giants 15. Players to know. Blake Bortles, Jags quarterback, 176 passing yards, 42 rushing yards, and 1 touchdown. TJ Yeldon, Jaguars running back, 51 rushing yards, and 18 receiving, 1 touchdown. D.D. Westbrook, Jaguars wide receiver, 51 receiving yards. Keelan Cole, Jags wide receiver, 54 receiving yards. Defense, Miles Jack, linebacker, 10 total tackles, 7 unassisted. You'll hear his name a lot, trust me. Then you got Jalen Ramsey, the cornerback, with 5 total tackles, 4 of those being solo. Fun fact, he's a big talker, which I'm going to mention in a few minutes. Then we got the Giants. Eli Manning, quarterback, 224 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Yes, he's Peyton Manning's brother. And yes, Archie Manning is his father. Also, he went to Ole Miss, which is the school I went to. Crazy. I actually ate dinner next to him last year. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, Saquon Barkley, the running back for the Giants, 106 rushing yards, 22 receiving, 1 touchdown. Odell Beckham Jr., aka OBJ, the one with the cool earring, often makes one-handed catches. Yeah, he's pretty famous. 111 receiving yards. He was defended by Ramsey, the one who talked a lot of crap, but I guess now they're buddies, so let's take a look at that picture. They're both holding each other's jerseys after the game, despite Ramsey talking crap about OBJ before the game. So I don't know, they made up. That's good news. Okay, Giants defense, cornerback Janoris Jenkins, 7 tackles, 5 unassisted, and cornerback Curtis Riley, who had 6 total tackles, 5 of those being solo. We then have the Baltimore Ravens versus the Buffalo Bills, which was an absolute blowout, but I feel the need to mention it because the Ravens scored 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, and kicker Justin Tucker executed a 41-yard field goal and then a 39-yard field goal in the second quarter. And the Ravens scored another touchdown at the end of the half, leading 26-0. Second half, Ravens put up 2 more touchdowns, but the Bills finally got on the board with a 3-point field goal from kicker Stephen Hausk. Fourth quarter, Ravens run in another touchdown. Final score, 47-3. Not going to mention a play of the game because that was just an embarrassing performance from the Bills, but players to watch. Joe Flacco, Ravens quarterback, completed 236 passing yards. Kenneth Dixon, Ravens running back, rushed 44 yards. Lamar Jackson, Ravens rookie quarterback, and 2016 Heisman winner, rushed 39 yards. John Brown, Ravens wide receiver, 44 receiving yards. Ravens defense, linebacker Smith and Mosley, and cornerback Kennedy, all with 5 total tackles, and each with 4 of those 5 unassisted. Then you have the Bills. Josh Allen, rookie quarterback, who had 74 rushing yards. Marcus Murphy, Bills running back, who had 31 rushing yards. Bills defense, linebacker Lorenzo Alexander with 8 unassisted total tackles. Moving on to the Cleveland Browns versus Pittsburgh Steelers. An interesting game considering the Browns literally didn't win a single game last year. So to try and break the losing streak, well, this is what happened. First quarter, Steelers score early on, leading 7-0. Second quarter, nothing other than Ben Roethlisberger throwing 2 more interceptions, 2 of which were intercepted by Browns cornerback Denzel Ward. Second half, third quarter, right off the bat, Tyrod Taylor comes in with a 20-yard run touchdown. Score is tied, but then Steelers respond with 2 more touchdowns. Fourth quarter, Browns trail by 14 points. Luckily, Steelers fumble the ball with less than 8 minutes on the clock, and it's recovered by Peppers, who runs it 16 yards. Browns end up scoring quickly after that. Then again, Steelers fumble, not looking good. Browns go on to score again, Game is tied 21-21. With 23 seconds left on the clock, Taylor throws an interception. Not enough time on the clock for the Steelers to score, so game goes into overtime. After both teams missed attempted field goals, the game ends in a tie. So this is pretty significant because there hasn't been a tie in week 1 of the NFL since 1971. Also, you should note that the Browns neither lost nor won, so is their losing streak really over? Something you can argue with your mansplainers. Okay, players to know. Ben Roethlisberger, Steelers quarterback, 335 passing yards, 16 rushing yards. James Conner, Steelers running back, 135 rushing yards, 57 receiving. Juju Smith-Schuster, Steelers wide receiver, 119 receiving yards. Oh, he also frequently did the Juju on the beat dance during games in previous seasons. Okay, Steelers defense, linebacker Vince Williams, who had 12 total tackles, 4 of those were unassisted, and linebacker TJ Watts with 11 tackles, 8 of those being solo. Moving on to the Browns, Tyrod Taylor, the Browns quarterback, who had 197 passing yards and 77 rushing yards. Oh, fun fact, he has a secret Browns quarterback club who he shares with rookie quarterback and last year's Heisman winner, Baker Mayfield. Okay, Carlos Hyde, Browns running back, 62 rushing yards, 3 receiving. Jarvis Landry, Browns wide receiver, 106 receiving yards. Browns defense, linebacker Joe Schobert with 8 total tackles, 2 of those were unassisted. Moving on to the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Los Angeles Chargers. This game started out crazy. First quarter, Chargers Harrison Butker punts, and Chiefs Tyreek Hill runs a 91-yard punt return for a touchdown. Let's view this. I mean, look at that speed and the blocking straight down the sideline. Absolutely amazing. Chargers kicker Caleb Sturgis hits a 45-yard field goal. Then Chiefs quickly respond with Tyreek Hill's 58-yard touchdown. Quarter ends with a 39-yard field goal from Sturgis, but Chargers were still down. Second quarter, Chargers score but fail with a 2-point conversion. Chiefs end the half with a 46-yard field goal from Harrison Butker. Chiefs lead 17-12. Moving on to the third quarter, the Chiefs still brought the heat with 2 touchdowns. Their defense was not allowing the Chargers to score, which is rare considering their shaky defensive performance. So then in the fourth quarter, Chargers still had the ball, and after 9 plays, finally Keenan Allen scores a touchdown. And then Phillip Rivers passes to Antonio Gates for a 2-point conversion. But the Chargers were still down 31-20. Then Tyreek Hill gets his 3rd touchdown of the game. The game still wasn't over because the Chargers came back to score 1 more touchdown, but it just wasn't enough. They didn't execute, despite knowing that Tyreek was just going to be a big factor. So final score, 38-28. Players to know. Patrick Mahomes, Chief quarterback, 256 passing yards and 21 rushing. Kareem Hunt, Chiefs running back, 49 rushing yards. Tyreek Hill, Chiefs wide receiver, 4 rushing yards, 162 receiving yards, and 3 touchdowns. Defense, linebacker Anthony Hitchens, 15 total tackles, 7 of those were unassisted. Going on to the Chargers, Phillip Rivers, the quarterback, 424 passing yards. It's pretty big. Melvin Gordon, Chargers running back, 64 rushing yards and 102 receiving yards. Then you got Keenan Allen, Chargers wide receiver, who had 108 receiving yards. Chargers defense, rookie linebacker Kaiser White with 6 total touchdowns, 3 of those being solo. All right, Green Bay Packers versus Chicago Bears. Wow, was this one to talk about considering the huge rivalry and the amazing ending. So let's recap. First quarter, Bears get a touchdown, leading 7-0. Second quarter, Bears kicker completes a 26-yard field goal, putting them up 10-0. And it only gets worse for the Packers as Khalil Mack intercepts quarterback Aaron Rodgers' pass and runs a 27-yard touchdown, also known as a pick 6. Mack was then trending on Twitter, and then of course he sacks Aaron Rodgers, who goes out with a knee injury, sending backup quarterback Kaiser in, which is really bad news for the Packers because it seemed like last season all over again. And for those of you who don't know what happened last season, Rodgers broke his collarbone early on, and that was pretty much detrimental for their season. So anyway, second half. Rodgers comes back in. Oh, it's a miracle. Everyone's excited because they thought he was done for. Third quarter, Bears kicker Cody Parkey completes a 33-yard field goal, but Packers respond with a 42-yard field goal from kicker Mason Crosby, putting them on the board. but the Bears were still in the lead 20-3. Then you have the fourth quarter where a 39-yard pass from Rodgers to Allison. Touchdown! Amazing. And then another touchdown! Rodgers throws a 12-yard pass to Devontae Adams. Packers only trailing the Bears by 3 points now. However, the Bears responded with a 32-yard field goal from Parkey, score 23-17. The clock was running with 2 minutes and 13 seconds left. Play of the freaking game. Let's take a look. Aaron Rodgers throws a pass to Randall Cobb for a touchdown. Mason Crosby gets the PAT. Packers win 24-23. An incredibly intense game, and what a performance by Aaron Rodgers. Even LeBron James tweeted calling Rodgers one of the GOATs. I mean, from one GOAT to another, that's pretty big news. So, players to know. Aaron Rodgers, obviously the Packers quarterback who had 286 passing yards and 15 rushing yards. Some fun facts about him. He actually recently wore a cowboy hat to the Packers luncheon, which was just absolutely absurd. And his brother won the Heart of Bachelorette JoJo Fletcher, so that's cool. Some girly knowledge that you can throw at your man who definitely wouldn't know what that means. Oh, and he's literally smarter than an astronaut. He actually beat Mark Kelly on Celebrity Jeopardy, so that's cool. Jamal Williams, Packers running back, had 47 rushing yards. Randall Cobb, Packers wide receiver, had 142 receiving yards. Packers defense, safety Kentrell Bryce with 9 total tackles, 7 of those were unassisted, and 1 sack. And safety Clinton Dix with 7 total tackles, all 7 unassisted. Then you have the Bears, Mitchell Trubisky, Bears quarterback, 171 passing yards and 32 rushing yards. Jordan Howard, Bears running back, 82 rushing yards, 25 receiving. Allen Robinson, Bears wide receiver, 61 receiving yards. Bears defense, cornerback Bryce Callahan with 8 total tackles, all of those being unassisted. Then you got Khalil Mack with 3 total tackles, 2 of those unassisted, 1 sack that put Rodgers out, and of course his pick 6. Oh, by the way, he was originally a basketball player, and senior year of high school he was talked out of playing basketball and started playing football. A really nice fact about him, he used to clean the lockers at night because his dad told him to always be a leader. That's so sweet. He's like a big, huge 252-pound teddy bear. We're gonna move on to the New York Jets versus the Detroit Lions, which was a Monday night game. So let's start. This game didn't start off great. The Jets started rookie quarterback Sam Darnold, who made his debut by throwing an interception, which allowed Lions cornerback Quandre Diggs to score right away. That was not ideal. Luckily, the Jets scored a touchdown towards the end of the first, allowing Darnold to make a decent comeback. Then second quarter, Jets kicker Jason Meiser hits a 35-yard field goal, and then they score with less than 2 minutes on the clock. However, Lions kick a 21-yard field goal with 11 seconds on the clock, but they were still down 17-10. Then the second half got a lot better for Darnold. Third quarter started with a touchdown from the Lions, tying the game 17-17. But Darnold gets fired up, throws a 21-yard touchdown pass, and then the Jets scored 2 more touchdowns after this play. Absolutely unbelievable. So let's take a look at Andre Roberts' punt return. Lions punt, and Jets' Andre Roberts catches the ball and runs it down for a ridiculous punt return. Jets up 37-17. The Jets go on to kick a field goal and run a 62-yard touchdown with 54 seconds left on the clock, winning the game 48-17. Hell of a comeback for Darnold and just an awful game for Stafford. So your players to know, we got Sam Darnold, Jets rookie quarterback, who had 198 passing yards. He's one of the youngest starting quarterbacks, so we'll give him a pass for his first throw of the game. Then you have Isaiah Crowell, Jets running back, 102 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Quincy Enunwa, Jets wide receiver, who had 63 receiving yards. Jets defense, Darren Lee, 7 tackles, 6 of those were unassisted, and he had 2 interceptions. Now for the Lions, you have Matthew Stafford, the Lions quarterback, who had 286 passing yards. It's his 10th NFL season, so this was a pretty bad start considering he threw 4 interceptions. Then you got Theo Riddick, Lions running back, 20 rushing yards. Kenny Galladay, Lions wide receiver, who had 114 receiving yards. Lions defense, linebacker Devin Kennard, 6 total tackles, 4 of those being solo and 1 sack. Then you got safety Tavon Wilson, who also had 6 tackles and 4 of those being unassisted. For the games I did not mention, here are your final scores. All right, that's everything for NFL Week 1 recap. And if you feel like you need more information to shut down your mansplainers, I'll be posting a wildcard video in a few days, basically giving facts about players that your mansplainers might not even know, so you can wow them with your unique knowledge of the NFL. But fans, we still have 16 more weeks left of football, which means there are 16 more weeks that you could potentially be mansplained. Let's try and avoid that by tuning into my show, so subscribe below. And thank you for watching Explained with Alexandra.